Let's dive into a math problem that honestly looks so simple you'd probably just breeze right past it on a test. But that's the whole point. It's got this sneaky little twist that's designed to catch you off guard.
Okay, here it is. What is 3% of 4%? If you're like pretty much everyone else, your brain just goes, oh, 3 times 4 is 12. So yeah, the obvious gut reaction answer is 12%. It feels right, it's fast, but well, that's the trap.
And this is where we have to say, I don't think that's how that works. And it isn't. So let's pull this thing apart and figure out why our intuition is leading us astray, and more importantly, how to get to the real answer.
Okay, first things first, let's get our setup right. Before we even think about calculating, we need to be crystal clear on what all the words and symbols in this problem are actually telling us to do.
The real key here is that word percent. It literally means per 100. So a great little mental trick is every time you see that percent sign, just think over 100. It's nothing fancy, it's just a special way of writing a fraction.
And then there's that other little word, of. In math, especially in word problems, of is basically code. It's an instruction. It almost always means multiply. So when the question says 3% of 4%, your brain should hear 3% times 4%.
And converting it is super simple. You just take the number in front of the percent sign, in this case 3, and you stick it on top of 100. That's it. So 3% is just a clean 3 over 100. And of course, the same thing goes for 4%. That becomes 4 over 100.
All right, now we're talking. With all that prep work done, we are ready for the actual calculation. We can totally ignore the percentages for a minute because working with these fractions is way more straightforward.
So see, what we've done is we've translated the question. We're no longer asking what is 3% of 4%, we're asking what is 3 over 100 times 4 over 100. And that's a problem we can actually sink our teeth into.
Remember how to multiply fractions? It's easy. You multiply the top numbers, the numerators together. So 3 times 4 gives us 12. Then you multiply the bottom numbers, the denominators together. So 100 times 100 is 10,000. Simple as that.
And boom, that leaves us with our result as one single fraction, 12 over 10,000. Now we're getting really, really close, but we're not quite at the finish line yet. We've got to turn this back into a percentage.
So, to get from this fraction back to a percentage, the easiest route by far is to go through a decimal first. Let's convert 12 over 10,000 into its decimal form. All you have to do is divide 12 by 10,000. A quick trick for that is to just look at the number of zeros. 10,000 has 4 zeros, so you take the number 12 and you just move the decimal point 4 places to the left. That gives us 0.0012. Now, this number is the right value, but it's still not in the right format.
And that brings us to the final step, the grand reveal. We just have to take this decimal and change it back into the percentage form that the original question wanted.
So, how do we do that? Well, the rule for going from a decimal to a percent is just the opposite of what we did before. You take your decimal point and you just slide it 2 places to the right.
And with that one last simple move, we've done it. We've cracked the code and found the correct final answer.
And there you have it, 0.12%. Not 12%, but 0.12%. It's 100 times smaller, and it makes total sense, right? We were trying to find a tiny fraction, 3%, of an already tiny fraction, 4%. Of course, the answer was going to be even tinier.
So what are the big takeaways here? Just 3 simple rules to keep in your back pocket. First, anytime you see of in a problem like this, think multiply. Second, and this is the absolute key to avoiding the trap, always convert your percentages to fractions or decimals before you do any math. And third, to get your final answer back into a percent, just slide that decimal point 2 places to the right.
And really, that just leaves us with one last thought. This problem looked easy, but it wasn't about quick multiplication. It was a test to see if you actually understood the concepts underneath. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What other simple math problems are out there that are just waiting to trick us? It's a pretty good reminder to always slow down and really think about what the question is asking.